Welcome to McKinley Live, Real People, Real Stories. Today we will be talking about the significance of Black History Month and how it has affected McKinley as a whole. Here at McKinley, we practice our human principles to activate equality and diversity within our workplace. Our goal is to impact society by leading through example in these characteristics. Our special guests today will share their perspectives within the civil rights movements. We want to reflect back on this impactful time in history and how we as individuals can set the pace for diversity, inclusion, and equity in all environments as we have influence. Today, we will also be sharing with you about our McKinley Toys and Joys holiday season and how your contributions made 2020 holiday season so memorable for all the children that we serve here at McKinley. Welcome to McKinley Live, Real People, Real Stories. This month, we are highlighting Black History Month. And what we've done is we've invited Patricia White. She is the Assistant Director of our short-term residential treatment program, to come back to the studio and to answer and share with us from her heart some questions about civil rights and what she has experienced in her life overall, but also here at McKinley. We know that we are living some very tumultuous times where in our society in the past year and the years past, we have seen a lot of unrest because there is a subject that people don't want to talk about. And we here at McKinley, we have added a new team member. Her name is Bria Mason. We will be interviewing her a little later today. And we have brought her on because her role is equity, diversity, and inclusion. So with that, Patricia, thank you again for being with us. And I want to just ask, I know that some of the questions that I have are a little bit heavy in nature, but I do want you to feel comfortable in sharing from your heart. So I would ask you, as you have lived in your life, what is the most memorable moment in the civil rights movement that has affected your life today?
Whew, that's a heavy one. The two, and I know you said one, but the two that I think of the most is Brown versus the Board of Education, when schools were desegregated, and Martin Luther King, his speech on I Have a Dream. Those would probably be two of the most important to me in my life, just based on how my mother has raised me and my siblings.
So beautiful. Thank you for sharing. A lot of folks don't know I was born and raised in Compton, and I also was raised in a home of immigrant parents. And I remember on Martin Luther King Day, our neighbor across the street would air the speech throughout the day. And I remember, from being 5 years old to, 15, and just being reminded of that powerful, powerful message, and ever so needed in our world today. Patricia, we know that the topic of racism is very, very difficult. And reality is that there are many people who still believe that it doesn't exist. But yet we know that there has been systemic racism in our country and in our world. And one of the questions that I want to ask you is, what piece of advice would you give to a young person of color that you maybe have gained wisdom in your journey of life and something that you can impart to someone else?
That's a good question. Let's see. I was raised in Louisiana, and my mother was born there, so I have a Southern upbringing. And my mother was always very clear on race. she never said anything negative about other races. It was just, it is what it is. And what she taught us. Later, we moved to La Puente, and I ended up going to a multicultural school, which was different because I had never been to a multicultural school before. But my mother didn't prepare me. It's just you're going to a new school or whatever. And recently I've thought about the teachers I've had at each of the schools I attended in La Puente, through elementary, middle school, and high school. I can't remember ever facing a racial issue that the teachers who didn't step in to make things right away. And I never felt uncomfortable when I went to any of the schools I attended. But recently, we're in the 21st century, and I've found myself thinking about race more than I've ever had to think about race before. And it just seems kind of weird. I locked my keys in my car leaving campus to go get lunch. And I'm thinking, I locked my purse in the car, my cell phone in the car. I liked everything in the car. And I'm like, gosh, I can't even call AAA. So there's only myself and a Caucasian couple in the restaurant. And I found myself thinking, oh my goodness, if I ask them to use the phone, are they going to allow me to use the phone? Are they going to feel some type of way when, I hadn't thought like that before, but with the turmoil that has been going on recently and everything that's being political driven right now, it's just put it in the forefront. And as I've spoken with friends and other people, they've said the same things. But I asked the family, do you mind if I borrow your cell phone? I locked all of my stuff in the car, and I just need to let my staff know where I am and have someone call AAA for me. The couple was very nice. And the wife said, here, go ahead, use my cell phone. Used the cell phone, called back to work to let them know, hey, I'm over here, I'm locked out. Called AAA, and I sat down outside to wait for them to arrive. And as I was sitting there waiting, the couple, they were leaving, but they pulled up and they said, do you need anything?
Wow.
Are you okay? You're going to be safe here? I said, yeah, I'm fine. And I said, thank you very much for offering. And it just made me feel like, when did we get to this place?
Yes.
When did we get to this place? And I've lived in La Puente, the Covina area for the majority of my life.
Yes.
But I can never say that I felt like, because of my skin color, I can't go to my friend's house. And my friends have been all the shades of the rainbow. And it's just never been a situation until recently that I find myself thinking about, okay, if I go over to my favorite place, am I going to be safe? Am I going to have to argue with someone based on race issues or them trying to force a point? Like I've heard other people in my circle say, and I'm like, I just want to run over here like I normally do and get what I want and move on.
Wow.
Even though my mom taught us about race, it was never about race should be an issue. And even though some things take place, to me, race still is an issue. Everybody should be accepted for who they are. No matter what color of their skin. If you dislike somebody, okay, dislike them because they did something to you. But of course, there's always, you should make amends. And that's just how I've been taught. Race, unfortunately and sadly, is a big issue many, many, many decades later outside of the civil rights. And I still believe in the dream that Martin Luther King had. I have nieces and nephews, and we teach them color is not something to judge somebody on. That's just the color of one's skin. I mean, and with this, I call different people involved in our lives their families, no matter what ethnicity they are. They're our family. Recently, my little niece's friend realized that my niece is African American because they were celebrating Martin Luther King Day in their class. And she realized that, oh, she's African American. She didn't know that before.
Wow.
And what she said, and it brought tears to my eyes, is I don't care if she's African American, she's still my sister.
Oh, wow.
I'll end on that.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I've got to tell you, I'm fighting every temptation to get up and to give Patricia a big hug. I have felt your heart. I have heard these beautiful words. One thing that I want to share with our audience is, again, here at McKinley, diversity, inclusion, our numbers, our staff is made up of very much of a diverse makeup of people of color in our leadership teams and in our organization overall, because we feel it's important that those that we serve also get to see the leadership and the management team that is similar and is representative of them as well. So Patricia, on behalf of us here at McKinley, thank you again for what you keep doing and the way that you serve and the way that you love. We got to hear your heart today, and for that I am so grateful. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us today. If you'd like to learn more about McKinley and how you might be able to be a part of the McKinley family, either through volunteering, becoming a mentor, if you're interested in donating or becoming a partner with us, we do have some really exciting things coming up. We did not get to share this, but we've got some opportunities that are very, very exciting for an event that we will be having later this year once we get an opportunity to be together in a large setting. But again, thank you so much, Patricia. I know this is going to sound strange, but I love you.
You know I love you too.
It's so
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you.